Hi Otto. My name's Alex the Heart of Right from IT Wire, and we're here in the media Q&A session with you, and I'm sure there'll be lots of other questions. But can you just briefly summarise the Built to Change conference today, just for the people who? I've recorded the entire event, and all the videos are up already online. But yeah.
So it's really to showcase our company-wide innovations. So there's a product showcase this morning that took everyone through at least a sampling of all the new developments and innovation that we're driving at the product level. And this afternoon, we switched gears to cover the CA Accelerator, which is our internal VC, if you will, as well as a sampling of the research activities and research projects that we have in our strategic research arm.
Sure, and no doubt there's all kinds of surprises for CA World 2018 in Miami in just a few months' time.
Yes.
Any sneak peeks, or
you'll have to wait.
So yeah, please go for it.
I have a question for the strategic research. How does it help for the development of CA in the near future, and what's the importance of the strategic research?
Absolutely. So it is not focused on the near future. These are research projects that take years.
Long term.
Yeah, it's long term. So we take a 5 to even 10-year view in terms of when we think some of that research activity is going to be incorporated into products for our customers. And that's really by design, because we want to make sure that we have different time horizons for how we approach innovation. So obviously the bulk of our innovation is in our product portfolio, and that's where we spend the bulk of our R&D dollars. We also have nearer term, but still a little bit further out in terms of mainstream adoption, innovation in the form of the accelerator. So in there, we're building businesses and products, but focused on emerging areas of technology that haven't quite reached full mainstream adoption. So Fresh Tracks focus on Docker and Kubernetes and microservices is an example of that kind of time frame, where we think, let's say over the next 2 to 4 years, microservice-based development is going to achieve real scale and mainstream adoption. But with strategic research, we're looking even further out. So we're not thinking about specific products, but we're thinking about areas of technology that we believe have a high probability of impacting our product development. And we do look for any and all opportunities to incorporate research output into products, and that's one of the ways that we think about evaluating strategic research candidates. We think about the product portfolio, we think about the company's product strategy, and we make an evaluation based on what we think the likelihood is that research activity will help either be directly incorporated into one or more products, or at least help guide future product development.
As any good VC company should do. I mean, you're only going to take bets you think are going to pan out or have a good chance of success.
It's taking bets.
That's right, yeah.
It's taking bets.
I've got two questions on...
But some bets may not turn out to be
And that's by design. And in
Yeah.
fact, when we built the CA Accelerator, we built a model that allowed a very high rate of failure at some level, and we can talk about how we define failure. But a high rate of incubations that don't make it all the way through to an exit. We modeled that 9 out of 10 incubations would not make it all the way through.
That's life.
That's life.
That happens, in fact, worse than that in real life.
That's right. So, we're hoping
For the best.
1 out of 10 will make it through.
But can you give us an idea about the compensation these guys would get, the whole thing that goes through right up to marketing?
So, we have, obviously, spot bonuses that we can provide based on performance. And I won't, can't give you the details of the compensation plan, but we did model it after, a typically successful, startup
And they'd get
in
equity,
this area. So,
you know.
we're not going to match the performance of a unicorn,
Yeah.
but obviously the vast majority of successful startups are not unicorns. And what we built in to our program was think of it as a revenue based compensation.
Percentage of future sales
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
Mhm.
It's a percentage based compensation that founders can also distribute portions to key members in their teams to provide both a reward and incentive for continued performance once the incubation exits.
Is there, sorry, just to follow up on that same point, isn't there a moral hazard? You give a lot of money to the guy who makes it and he leaves you?
Oh, but the way that this is constructed is that the incentive
Comes over a
kicks
period of
in
time.
after transition into
Okay.
the product organization for several years.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, you'd want to keep that guy
Yeah,
on board
on
because he's
board
obviously
for a
smart and
few-
might do
few
another
years.
great
So
startup. Yeah.
the more successful that you can make that incubation after exit into the product organization, the better off you do, from an incentive.
So, your
Now,
question.
as with many things in life, it's not the size of your R&D budget that counts; it's how you use it. But out of curiosity, how many billions do you spend each year in R&D, or what's the percentage? And it must have been growing.
Well, we'll have to. I don't know that number off the top
Sure.
of my head.
But it's billions, right?
It's
a lot.
It's a it's a healthy
I figure.
portion of our
Billions would be-
Yeah.
of our revenue.
Sure,
So,
sure. I mean, and the other question is the acronym for CA research is CAR, which makes me wonder whether you're doing anything in the automotive space, like everyone else seems to be doing at the moment, or whether you're just leaving that to others.
in the automotive.
Yeah.
So, indirectly,
Yeah.
certainly our research in IoT and IoT systems reliability would have direct application, for autonomous vehicles. I think some of the research in cobotics is applicable. So we tend not to pursue sort of, vertical market research. It tends to be a little bit broader.
I was just playing on that CAR acronym. My mind works in weird ways like that.
Well, and strictly speaking, it's CA, strategic research. So, but I hear you. Coming back to the accelerator conversation, just for a brief comment there. The interesting thing about the reason that people come on board to do the program, hasn't been about the potential downstream reward, because we only have formulated that the compensation model that we now have only recently, because it's been challenging to do. And this is something that I've observed throughout my career. People aren't chasing. I mean, the monetary reward, that's
somewhere,
nice,
but the idea,
they're passionate. They want, to
the
get their
success of an
idea.
idea
Yes,
is what attracts
Yes.
people.
yes, that is the primary motivator. The financial upside, it's a nice kicker, but it's not what brings people on board.
Is there a startup within the CA Accelerator program that you can tell us about that is exciting that you haven't mentioned yet already, because it's new still, or you don't want to maybe tip off your competitors?
Well, I like to say that we love all our children.
No, but some are more favorites than
Yeah, I want to ask more about the more general questions, because in the last section for the strategic research, you mentioned about IoT and AI. And what's your observation or maybe your opinion on what are the significance and the importance of AI in general, and maybe it is AI and IoT would be your next target for the growth of CA in the future.
I would IoT is to me just the future fabric of how technology is connected together. So to me that's almost foundational. Mm-hmm. We're already living in an IoT world, mm-hmm. So to me the questions are around how to make sure that the IoT world we're living in is safe and secure and can be monitored, can be properly operationalized, so that we understand how it's behaving and ensuring that it's behaving the way that we designed. I view AI, machine learning and machine intelligence specifically as on a slightly different way. I think about that as a set of capabilities that can be applied to a whole host of other areas, including IoT, mm-hmm. to be able to have, for example, automated, intelligent, self-aware IoT systems. And we saw plenty of examples in the product showcase where we're taking data science, machine learning, and advanced analytics techniques and embedding them mm-hmm. into existing products to make them smarter, to be more secure, to provide greater customer value and insights. So I don't view machine learning as a separate product. I think of it as a set of new capabilities that can be applied to existing products.
So are you satisfied with the development of AI in recent years? Maybe.
I think we've had an explosion of new capabilities that really has been a result of technology catching up to the promise of machine learning. So specifically, both compute power and storage density have increased to a tipping point where there's enough of both to do machine learning, to run machine learning algorithms on very large data sets that simply wasn't possible before. And in fact, much, if not most, of the foundational science around machine intelligence and machine learning has existed for many years in academia, but couldn't actually be implemented feasibly because of technology limitations. All of a sudden, those technology limitations have been addressed, primarily through the ongoing march of Moore's law and other efficiencies in technology, and what was only possible theoretically is now actually possible.
So other than embedding AI into your products, are there any strategies for AI maybe created in another department? Have you thought of?
Maybe ask your question a different way.
Other than embedding AI technology into your products, any other strategies for developing AI maybe?
Okay, yeah, no, I think I understand your question. So there's also, and something we're looking at, is new types of products that potentially can take advantage of stitching together different pieces of data from different portions of a technology stack or a business system, to be able to create new insights that are not possible to create by simply looking at these different segments, if you will, or different categories of data. So being able to harvest data from across multiple products to be able to create insights that simply can't be created just by just using the data within a single product is also something that we're looking at.
Well, let me ask this question here.
Yeah.
There's a company called
Sorry,
Era.
I wanna just
Yeah.
sorry, she's wanna ask.
Oh, no, go for it. Go.
Yeah, sorry. There's a few questions for Mona Software Factory that she
Yeah.
wants. So first one is, since we launched Mona Software Factory concept, how much do you think you
Her English is good.
how much do you think that how much do you think this concept being accepted in the market, or how do you feel about that customers got it?
The reception with our customers has been absolutely fantastic, because it's really a way of addressing all the pain points that our customers are having with
Right.
making this transition to being able to use software in a fundamentally different way. So the idea of creating these feedback loops, to creating these digital channels to customers and partners, to be able to move faster. If I were to name the biggest challenge that our customers have, that the modern software factory creates a framework to address, is speed. How do you create software? How do you create new value through software at the speed that the market demands and that your customers expect?
Okay, so next question is, how much do you think that this Mona Software Factory contribute to our business recently?
To
Contribute to our business growth?
it's foundational. I mean, everything that we do, the way that we think about investing in product innovation, the conversations that we're having with our customers, are all through the lens of the modern software factory. How to build software faster, better, higher security. How to create insights. It's all all of these concepts are embedded in our way of thinking.
How do you convince legacy owners of software and hardware, big companies, to change in such an environment where things are working well for them?
Well, the question is, how well are things working for them? If things truly are working well for them, we will continue to support keeping what they have going. But I haven't talked to anyone who said, you know what, we're fine exactly as we are.
Except monopolies. Right.
But everyone's under market pressure. Ultimately, it's the market that convinces companies that they need to move faster. They need to use software differently. They need greater efficiencies. We frankly don't need to convince them. The competition convinces them. Their customers convinces them.
The market
And
the future.
And we're there to help. And explore ways to get results that that customers need, either whether it's being able to build new types of applications, or whether it's to create greater operational efficiency in their technology stacks. Typically a combination, but
or like you earlier said, the customers don't know that they need it.
they don't. They and it's interesting, because in this case they know they need it. They don't necessarily know what to do to get it. That's right.
I want to ask you a question about India. How important is India as a development center, as a supplier of software brain, and plus, do you foresee anything else that you expect from Indian staff?
so India is, absolutely strategic for us. It's, by far our largest development center. And I think we've made and continue to make, some great, investments in building that capability in IDC. We've got a new leader there who's from Microsoft, who's doing a fantastic job there, and we're continuing to invest and using it not just as a source of software development talent, but also as a primary source for innovation.
Because there is criticism of India that they do repetitive things very easily and they do custom built stuff quite easily and well, but innovation is something which is not the primary
But
capability. What's your experience?
to me, that's everyone has an innovative spark. So I don't think that's a regional attribute. And to me, the key is to create the right environment to allow innovation to happen. You can't force it, you can't mandate it, but if you create the right environment, it will arise naturally. And I think that's absolutely what we're doing in our development centers in India. We are creating very intentionally the right environment to support and allow innovation to flow.
If you got another one, ask.
No, just a quick follow-up on that. This incubation program, it's worldwide or is it only in the US?
It is technically worldwide. Our focus has been primarily North America. We now have an incubation in Europe very recently. So it's a fairly new program, and we wanted to make sure that it achieved a certain level of maturity in its operation before we expanded it globally. We now have one of the incubations in Europe, and we are actively looking to expand globally, because we're trying to tap into the ideas across the entire company, and I'm absolutely certain that over time there will be incubations in India as well.
Can you a second
Okay.
follow-up?
No,
I just want to go deeper on this gentleman's question.
deep dive.
Yeah, you just asked how do you convince the company to accept your system, and maybe they want to change, but sometimes it's hard to change. Will you help those organizations to reskill their workforces, or do some work to help them change smoothly?
So, change is really about building an architecture, and the right sequencing. So, we believe in a partnership model, so that we're on board for a journey. It is this kind of transformations that enterprises are going through don't happen overnight. You can't do everything all at once. So we're in it for the long haul. We believe in a as I said, in a partnership model, so that we can start out focusing on just one area that is the highest need, and continue to evolve a company's modern software factory and their level of proficiency over time. So it's not something that can be done just at once, and it's something that we work with our customers to identify where the different needs are, and what challenge areas to tackle at what point in time. So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
So I had a question, wanted to follow up on the question about AI. You were talking about how you can use AI to find insights in different areas of the business. And I recently did a fascinating interview with the CEO of Era Technology, which it's different to CA. They're not doing modern software factory, but it says here, it's cognitive technology. This Era AI understands how your business works, makes real-time recommendations, predicts outcomes, and takes action autonomously. And you can ask it questions just from your phone, and it will say, look, like it says here, what's my forecast? And it says, well, we're on track with 1.2 billion with an additional 134 million of revenue opportunity. Do you want the regional breakdown? And so I'm wondering, do you have some sort of an AI interface that you can ask questions of, even if it's just by typing? And are you going to make such an AI interface available to your developers and partners so that they can take advantage of all that AI machine learning to make better apps or interface with you better, or implement it for their customers?
So the natural language interface is just the last mile. Most of the work is before you can implement a chatbot. But that is the future that we're collectively evolving to.
It's that Star Trek Hey Computer interface.
But the key to it is to be able to identify and harvest the right sources of data.
Which is what they say they're doing. They take all the sources and the AI chatbot is just the interface, but they say they're getting all that data and from everywhere, and that's how they can help you make those decisions even autonomously. And I guess that's where people might be making software autonomously, because improvements to itself, and you were speaking about that today as well.
And we already have autonomous agents, if you will, in the form of automation. And we've been automating business and technology processes for quite some time. We have Automic now in the CA family. The transition there is going to be going from and evolving from pre-programmed automation to self-programmed, self-improving, intelligent automation. There's going to be some amount of social adaptability that's going to be part of the notion of machines making decisions on not just our behalf, but on the behalf of a business. And whether those decisions are good ones. It's one thing to hardwire an automation system, because you always pretty much know exactly what's going to happen if you designed it correctly, what's going to happen on the output, based on the inputs. Now you insert a learning system, a continuous learning system in the middle of that. That's a leap.
I was at a conference in Paris with Thales, the big aerospace defense logistics, satellites, and they were talking about the concept of explainable AI, where the AI had to explain itself. If it made a decision and you wanted to know why, it needed to be able to spell it out in plain English. And I guess that's something that everyone has to do.
We have a research project, an explainable AI, and that is going to be, I think, frankly, critical.
Absolutely. To be able to trust.
To be able to trust, and how did you make this decision?
That's right, Not the black box we have now with the consumer AIs that, they do something and you don't know why they did it, and they can't explain to you why they did it. And there was that whole thing about where Facebook had chatbots chatting to each other, and they forgot to program those chatbots to only speak in English. So they started talking to themselves in their own code. So that sort of thing's already happened.
So explainable AI, and maybe I'm old school, but it's sort of like the
kill
stack
switch.
Trace. Well, the stack trace.
The stack trace,
All right, show me. How did you get here?
Yeah, absolutely. You had a question?
I have a question on privacy. Last question. Maybe? Tim Cook yesterday in an interview said that privacy is a fundamental right of every human being. And do you agree with GDPR, and do you think every country should adopt it?
We're strong proponents of GDPR. I don't know that it's the right model for every country, but to your point of explainable AI, at a minimum, we should have explainable privacy. Like, people do have, I think, a right to understand where their data is and how it's being used.
Otto, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.